The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.
Welcome to the bonus show. Google says it will run entirely on renewable energy in 2017. Last year, Google consumed as much energy as the entire city of San Francisco. And all of that energy next year in 2017, they say, is going to come from wind farms and solar panels. And also that their data centers all around the world will be entirely powered by renewable energy sources. Now, this doesn't mean that Google computers are only going to consume wind and solar power because they get power from the solar company, the power company. They're operating an energy grid, which is usually supplied by many sources. It could include hydroelectric dams, there's coal, there's natural gas, and there's some renewables in there as well. But what Google has been doing over the last 10 years is participating in some really large-scale deals with renewable energy producers. And typically this guarantees that they will buy the energy that they produce they will be buying that energy from providers that are harvesting it from wind turbines and solar cells. So this is kind of like when you get the offer to change who your provider is for electricity. And this has been a big scam opportunity in Massachusetts since deregulation. You're sort of changing on paper who the provider is, but the delivery is still coming through the regular power company, and it's a mix. But you're just sort of saying, I'm going to subsidize or pay for the energy only from companies using renewables. So it's very interesting. It made major headlines from the New York Times, but I also don't want to overstate what it means to people who might hear that and say, oh, Google has built wind farms.
Yeah, I mean, you only have so much say in what your providers are going to use for renewable or non-renewable energy.
Yep.
But it's a good move on their part, and it may not save them money in the short term, but I think they're going to generate a lot based on their consumers being more interested in investing in their products and shareholders. I think it's going to be a good move for them.
The optics are great of it, obviously, and when you hear that they use as much power as the city of San Francisco and that they're moving to renewables, that makes for awesome headlines, and that's exactly why they got major stories in the New York Times and in many other places. Have you had any of these salespeople? Like, I get robocalls all the time from people wanting me to change my electric provider. And sometimes the pitch is you can switch to green energy. Sometimes the pitch is just we can save you money. And by and large, it's a big scam problem here in Massachusetts. Often they give you an introductory rate that's really cheap. But then after 3 months, it goes up and it's even more expensive than what your original provider was. I don't know if you've gotten these calls, flyers. They do email marketing and paper mail marketing a lot.
No, I haven't seen any of that, but it seems like you do get a lot of scam calls. I've seen you get quite a few of them even here at the show.
Yeah, my phone I'm getting robocalls constantly. Student loans, which I fortunately don't have, offering me loan consolidation and changing my electricity provider. Car insurance, getting a warranty on a car I haven't even had for 3 years. I still get calls about that.
Yeah, I was offered a free trip to Universal Studios based on having gone there in the past year, but I haven't gone there in the past year. Very strange.
Interesting. I'm sure that's one of those things where they say, since you went in the past year, we'd like to give you a trip. Then you say, I haven't gone. And they say, oh, even better. We can still give you the trip. And it'll probably be even more fun because you haven't been there.
Yeah, it was amazing. They were able to keep their level of excitement throughout the duration of the call. And I can't imagine someone in a call center just keeping that level of excitement for 8 hours.
You need more than coffee for that. Yeah. I don't know what they're on, but yeah, I totally agree with you. A horrific story from nearby in Lawrence, Massachusetts, where a 15-year-old boy has been charged with killing a high school classmate whose body was found decapitated near a river. Matthew Borges was held without bail after pleading not guilty at an arraignment in Lawrence District Court on the murder charge. In spite of being 15, he's being prosecuted as an adult. Of course, no death penalty here in Massachusetts. The victim is a 16-year-old named Lee Villoria Paulino, found near the Merrimack River in Lawrence just a few days ago by a woman walking her dog. Police recovered the head nearby. This is absolutely insane. The police report says that Borges told a witness that he had, quote, done something bad and that he stabbed a kid and cut his head off, killing him. He was ultimately arrested over the weekend. Motive is unclear. That's under investigation. Lawrence is pretty close by, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say you can get there in 20, 25 minutes from Boston.
Not during rush hour, of course.
Not during rush hour. We've discussed that.
You can't get anywhere in 20 minutes in Boston during rush hour. Horrible, horrible crime. Were there ever any big crimes in your high school? Because you also grew up in, I don't know if your town was like Lawrence, but I don't think it was completely opposite Lawrence.
Yeah, I mean, it was similar in the sense that it was suburban, but certainly nothing to this extent. I mean, there were, normal high school things like drug use and just minor petty crimes, but this is pretty crazy. And especially because of the fact that he seems to be showing some remorse.
Right.
You'd think that someone that would do something so heinous as to decapitate someone and to cut off their forearms wouldn't just have a second thought about it.
I am sort of curious about what the defense is that his attorney is going to mount for this case. As I mentioned, being tried in adult court, that's already pretty controversial. 15-year-old, certainly not an adult. There are many people in our audience, though, even self-described progressives, who would say at 15, when you're talking about something as depraved as a decapitation murder, you're not really going to try that person as a kid, especially when that would see them in a few years potentially released without an adult felony conviction record. That doesn't really seem to make sense. At the same time, does it ever make sense to try a 15-year-old as an adult when we know so much about the lack of development that is inherent in a 15-year-old? This is very controversial with many in our audience.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, when you choose to try someone based on, as an adult based on their age, even though they may be 15, there's other factors that come into play. And maybe how bad their crime was should be one of them.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, a lot of the times it has to do with socioeconomic status and race, and that's where the issue is.
Absolutely. We've seen that many, many times. And I don't know too much about the socioeconomic status of this individual. From the name, it sounds like it may be a Hispanic individual. Both the names of the perpetrator, alleged perpetrator, and the victim could be Hispanic names, but I'm not totally sure about that. And I'm curious what will ultimately happen. I'm sure we will hear about it since it is not too far away from us here in Boston, Massachusetts. There's an interesting article on Media Matters about 5 people close to Donald Trump who have been spreading fake news at different points. One of them is Trump's selection to be National Security Advisor, Michael Flynn, who once tweeted a link to a fake news piece claiming that Hillary Clinton is complicit in sex crimes. That's, of course, related to the entire Pizzagate thing. Also, Michael Flynn's son, Flynn Jr., Mike Pence hasn't been super upfront about it, but it seems like he's been removed from the staff or sort of unofficial helpers of his dad, and he also was retweeting Pizzagate stuff. Donald Trump Jr. retweeted a fake letter appearing to be written by Hillary Clinton, which suggested that the Clinton campaign was bribing pollsters. Totally fake. I mean, just absolutely fake news tweeted by Donald Trump's son, Don Trump Jr. And then Eric Trump also tweeted a link to a fake story alleging that the Clinton campaign was paying protesters to disrupt a Trump rally. This is related to people who think that George Soros was paying protesters $1,500 each to protest, which, if you just think about it for a second, that makes no financial sense whatsoever. That you can't build a big protest movement by paying each protester $1,500 for a couple of hours. It, at its face, made no sense, and Eric Trump fell for it.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, honestly, too, because Donald Trump himself has reported fake news and retweeted things that just are patently untrue.
Yep.
Remember when he, during the campaign, released the list of homicide rates?
Yeah.
And he falsely retweeted something that said that blacks who kill whites do it at a rate of 81%, where the FBI statistics show that it's only 13%.
Yeah, and the actual numbers on black crime versus white on white crime show that both blacks and whites are almost equally likely to be victims of violence by individuals of the same race. That's really the takeaway when you look at that data, that it's intra-racial violence that is most common.
And then he went on Bill O'Reilly's show, and Bill O'Reilly was actually noble enough to call him out on it.
Yes.
And said, you have to check your sources. You're running for president. And he was like, all right, fine, I'll do it.
The number 5 person associated with the Trump campaign that was also spreading fake news is Corey Lewandowski, his fired campaign manager, who became a CNN contributor but still paid by Donald Trump, tweeted a fake story alleging that the Clinton campaign was paying protesters to disrupt a Trump rally. Slightly different, but similar to the other one tweeted by Eric Trump. So not only did fake news purveyors get a lot of action during the Trump campaign, but even Trump staffers and associates and surrogates and family members were involved in the tweeting of all of that stuff. And there's a fascinating NPR article about a couple people that create fake news and how they're not even, a lot of the pro-Trump fake news or anti-Hillary fake news was not even from liberals. It was just done because there was a market for it and it would do really well.
And now they're trying to have a movement to crack down on these sort of fake news reportings on Facebook and Twitter.
Yep.
But it's really hard to do because if you just mess up once and falsely report something, does that mean your account can be taken down?
That's a very fair question. The other reason that it's really complex is that now that that has happened, a lot of people on the right are just calling any left-wing news fake news. Like we're now getting called fake news. Whatever trend there is, first it was cucks, right? The alt-right likes the insult cuck. And all of a sudden, if you look starting 6 months ago at our YouTube comments, David Pakman's a cuck, David Cuckman, blah, 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 blah. Now that fake news is an issue, you look at our channel and tons of comments saying, this is fake news, this is fake news. And they just ride the wave, you know? That's all they're doing.
I mean, it'll only last another couple of months if you look at the trend lines.
Yeah, it won't last any more than 2 months to 2 or 20 years. That's all we have to worry about it for. The Indiegogo crowdfunding campaign is on. Thank you to I think it's something like 30 or 40 people who already donated yesterday on the first day. This is a huge and really important, I mean, this is the most important and significant in terms of its potential impact crowdfunding campaign that we've ever done. And I encourage you to check it out at davidpakman.com/donate. We outline the entire thing there. I know that I don't have to explain to you, because this is the bonus show and I'm talking to our members who already understand the importance of funding independent media, the potential to have impact that this campaign could have. We're trying to raise $60,000. Please check it out. Check out the perks. Contribute what you can. Even if you can only contribute $2, $3, or $4, please do it. And also, please use the Facebook and Twitter share buttons on the campaign page, because shares of the campaign are, number one, really important to boost the campaign in the Indiegogo algorithm, but also the top 5 referrers for donors to our campaign. By using those links, we'll get the $300 perk that we've lined up for free. So I won't say much more about it. davidpakman.com/donate. Please check it out and please donate.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.